We are excited that you want to help your church serve children and families in crisis. We know that Jesus has called us to care for the most vulnerable, and kids and families in crisis in your community are the most vulnerable. As a foster adoptive dad, I love the fact that I get to care for kids who Jesus himself would have brought in, and that's what our family does. But we also understand that not every family is going to foster or adopt, but there's a ton of things that people can do. And COVID has made it so that the church has had to transition themselves to using technology to help kids in crisis and do all kinds of things across the country. We know that technology is a big deal. We use things like Amazon all the time. We use Uber all the time. We used to use Airbnb. Those things are so important. Why not have the church take full advantage of using tools like that to serve kids and families in crisis? And that's where CarePortal comes in. CarePortal is a platform designed for just that purpose. How do we make it easier for children to be served through local churches just like yours? So we're going to watch this How It Works video. We made this video so people could really understand this is what CarePortal is all about. Take a look. Every year, more than 4 million children teeter on the brink of entering foster care. And more than 400,000 are in foster care, most of them for preventable reasons. The foster care system impacts more than you can imagine. 50% of the homeless, 60% of girls and women rescued from sex trafficking raids, and 75% of those incarcerated spent time in foster care. The foster care system is ground zero, the place where our efforts will have the absolute greatest impact on our communities. And here is the good news. So many of you care about these issues. Churches and agencies and businesses, community leaders, all want to help. What we're missing is connection. The chance to collaborate and put our networks and resources together. CarePortal uses technology to make real-time care connections for kids and families in crisis. This platform helps us make the most vulnerable children our priority, which makes them the single most powerful source for uniting and healing our communities as we serve together. Here's how it works. Caseworkers with child-serving agencies encounter needs of children in crisis every day. They enter vetted needs into CarePortal, which immediately makes local churches and community members who've joined the network aware, giving them a real-time opportunity to respond. This platform is designed to equip the local church to be at the point of care for these children and families in need. And it allows for the entire community to work together on any request. So whether it's one church that responds or a community of churches and businesses and individuals working together, CarePortal makes vital connections possible through an easy-to-use platform at your fingertips.
So many of our children and families in child welfare are isolated. They don't have a support system. CarePortal can provide not only the physical needs for the children and family, but can also provide a support system and relationships.
I look at the CarePortal as a platform for us to be able to do ministry across denomination lines, across racial lines, across social economic lines, and the mission field is in our backyard.
Sometimes, connection means meeting one need at just the right moment. At other times, connection starts life-changing relationships. When you join CarePortal, you're saying yes to connections that change lives, transform communities, and can reverse the foster care crisis in our nation. That yes makes children the priority, because every child matters, and what you do matters. Children have the power to change us. So as you saw in that video, CarePortal was created to be a safe way to connect those who are in need with those who really want to help. And this is happening all across the country as we speak. More than 20 states have implemented CarePortal, with thousands of children every month being served by thousands of churches. That is absolutely amazing. But what really matters is that we boil it down to the individual church level. I'll walk through a few key features that show you just how much you can do with this platform. Now to start, you can customize your church radius, which tells the system when you'd like to be notified about new requests that have been entered by a caseworker. Another feature you'll love is the ability to add and manage your own response teams. Each team can have a location and settings that are different from the main church account, as well as have a list of responders that only get notified when you want them to be. Churches and teams are also given a custom link to a church page that shows their local open requests along with the impact that they've had so far. This page can be embedded into your church website, which makes it a fantastic onboarding tool. And finally, all churches and teams can enter their own needs that stay internal. This gives you the flexibility to add the needs from you and your members you already know about and want to be involved in. Our goal is to give you a platform that makes it easier for your ministries and each of your members to be given access to opportunities to serve the least of these. So now that you have a good idea of how CarePortal works and why it even exists, I'd love for you to hear some voices from people out in the community, people who are using the platform all the time to help churches serve more kids in crisis. So let's start with a pastor, Pastor Dennis, amazing brother who's up in New York and has been using the platform for a while now. Listen to what he thinks about how CarePortal's helped his church care for kids and families in crisis.
The overriding emotion I have with regards to CarePortal is gratitude, because what it's done for us as a church, it's provided a bridge from the church to the community where, people that we don't know. And there hasn't been any other access point that's been this effective. And so, as a church leader, it's an accelerator. As a church leader, it's access. As a church leader, it's qualified needs that we get to serve. It's not that we have to serve them. It's always optional, but we get to do this. We get to co-labor with Christ Jesus. Currently, we have 3 children being fostered by foster parents in our church through the work of CarePortal. And they are being loved and cared for and discipled. So what it's done, it's brought missions right here, made it very real, made it very tangible. I know for us personally, our family, my 2 daughters, 21 and almost 17, and they have gone on deliveries with us. It's part of what they are passionate about. When missions comes right onto your doorstep, that's the best thing that can ever happen in the Church of Jesus Christ. It realigns our heart. It reestablishes what the church is to society.
Another key role in any ministry are the local ministry leaders within the church. And I can't think of anyone more passionate about the heart of ministry than Renee. Take a listen to her perspective on what serving is all about.
Everybody wants to serve their community because that's what we're called to do, and that's what the Lord himself would do. But I think there's a really interesting shift that happens when you see that person as an avenue to serve Jesus face to face. And so when that kind of thing starts to happen, when you show up and you see Jesus everywhere you're going, and that's part of your own personal relationship with him, it turns it from, I'm no longer doing this because you need me, I'm now doing this because I need him. And that's where I'm going to find him, is in that service. Part of that is very personal, and I think when we share that with a congregation, that alone, like, hey, wait, this is a way to really meet the Lord in a way that you maybe haven't done in the past. Maybe you've sat in services and you've learned about him in an academic way, but there's something very different about meeting him face to face in the people that you serve. And I think when someone has that experience and then they share it with their congregation, that is a real personal and vulnerable moment of faith between 2 believers that Now someone wants to join because they see that it's something really real and spiritual. It's not just a Amazon delivery service, but this is something that changes you deep down.
And finally, I want to share a story with you about a real family serving a real family. This is what it comes down to. And they started by meeting one simple need that turned into more than they could ask or imagine.
We often think we have to go to somewhere around the world to really meet needs, but you can drive 5 miles away from your house and there are needs there. And so the CarePortal helps tear down that wall between need and life, so that you know how to enter into someone's world and meet a tangible need. And that's what we're called to do.
I was struggling to pay rent and picked up a second job and just trying to do everything I can to get my daughter back. So I was like, I need to get her a crib as soon as possible.
The need came through. Someone needed a crib. A girl named Kayla needed a crib, and we said, this is it, let's go meet it. So we brought the crib to Kayla and set it up, and then when we were in her apartment, Jennifer looked around and said, can we get you anything else? And so over just the course of 2 to 3 months, we kept bringing furniture over as we found it and bought it and formed a relationship, and it's been such a blessing. I mean, what do you say? She reminds me of my own daughter. You have these perceptions of what this is going to be like, but when you meet somebody face to face and you see they're trying and they love God, that's just a blessing.
It's not just a need, it's a face, it's a person, it's a whole person. Everywhere I went to look for something, I was always thinking about her and her child and thinking how they were doing. So it opens up your heart.
When I was moving from Washington, I had to give away all my stuff that I had. My foster mom had encouraged me to just give it all away because God will bless you with all the new stuff. He'll provide the new stuff for you. And He totally did. He filled my apartment through them.
That's what Jesus is about. Is how do we get out and meet the needs of others with compassion and with mercy and with love. Sometimes it's physical, but sometimes it's just being with people.
As we were leaving, she gave me this card. She said, it couldn't have been cheap or easy for you guys, and this is the phrase I love, but you still felt I was worth doing this for. And that means so much to me. And that's what we need to be about in our communities. We need to show the love of Christ and say, you know what, brother, you're worth it. And sister, you're worth it. And Jesus says you're worth it.
The greatest adventures I've had in life have been when I'm giving myself away. There's always fear, right? We fear looking foolish. We fear being misunderstood. We fear being taken advantage of. But the reality is we find our life by giving it away. And the CarePortal is an avenue to give your life away in small ways and in big ways. And that brings joy. That really brings a lot of joy to who we are.
How can you see a video like that and not be excited to serve? Just imagine your church mobilizing your members to care for kids and families and be transformed like you just saw. That's what we want for you. And CarePortal's role is to help your church serve as many as you possibly can to mobilize your people. So here's my invitation. Church, we can, you can, reverse the foster care crisis in this country. You can make sure that there's more than enough care for every child in crisis in your community. We are excited to be on this journey with you, and we are excited to see what God's going to do through you.